Sports on Tap is brought to you by Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank, Go To Pro Plumbing, Land & Sea Motorsports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, we're loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With news that's jaw dropping, they getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke. From Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening, if you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go when all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Welcome to this week's edition of Sports on Tap. I am Chris Scott, alongside Joe Waddell and Frank Giagata. Frank, good to have you back.
Good to be back, buddy.
Yeah, happy to hear that. We took last week off. We were trying to work on some things. We've added some new features. We now have a text/call-in feature. So if you guys would like to do that, you're more than welcome to. So we'll give out the number here in a second.
Yeah. The number's actually on your screen, bottom right-hand corner. Call or text live, 313-403-8448. That's 313-403-8448. And we actually have a caller on live right now.
Yes, we do.
Beginning of the show, caller, go ahead.
Hi, I'm really glad that you guys have a phone number that we can actually call in on.
We love it as well. We love it as well. Thank you for calling.
I do have a question.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, every year, the Detroit Tigers, they get a couple of really good players, and at the end of the season, they get rid of them. You think that's going to happen at the end of this season, so we can always be in a quote-unquote rebuilding mode?
Well, caller, can we get your name?
Kathy.
Kathy. Excellent, Kathy. Well, we appreciate you calling, Kathy. We're going to actually hang up, and we're going to address that right now live on the show. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that because they haven't really.
From what I've read, Ilitch came out last night before, at some point in the last week, we'll say that, and said that he plans on actually going after free agents in the offseason. Okay. So I would think the plan is to keep what we've had and add to it, but this is also Ilitch, and he's notorious for just letting guys walk. So,
and that goes to Kathy's point. That it's Chris Ilitch. He doesn't want to spend money. It's simple as that. And frankly, I think the past few years, I don't think it was actually worth bringing in like a high-priced free agent because this team just didn't have the type of talent to warrant doing that.
Right.
Well, and they've been in rebuild mode.
Yes, and they have been. But
so like the top talent that they kind of had on their team, they were willing to part with to build down the road.
Right.
As opposed to now, it is. It's one of those things where they're now able to keep their talent. They're looking to keep their talent. They're not looking to trade away their talent like they did before.
Right. So I think now, especially with what Avila said about a month or so ago, he said we're not in rebuild mode, we're in build mode. Right. And then when Chris Ilitch come out, I think it was either yesterday or today, and said, yeah, that's a possibility in the offseason. And like we talked about, I don't know if it was either the last show or the show before that. You know what? Prove it, man. It's time. It's time you go out and you prove it, and you build the city a winner like your dad did. Mm-hmm. And it like we talked about, like Carlos Correa is more than likely going to be out there, and that's somebody you have to legitimately try to go after. And if you don't get him, you don't get him. But
you have to
at
make
least
the attempt.
You got to make a shot. You got to show this fan base that you're actually trying to build a winner, and hopefully he does that. But if he doesn't, then it's just going to be the same old, Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Ilitch finally said he's going to spend money, but he said it in a way that you can't really hold him accountable if he doesn't do it. So he said, well, we're kind of there. Maybe we're at a point where we can maybe do it, and it's one of those things. I trust the head coach. I trust AJ Hinch.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily trust. I don't necessarily trust Ilitch to spend money, and I don't trust Avila to spend it right. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things of, I mean, I guess at this point, put up or shut up, because you've got basically, I think they're the youngest team in the MLB, and they I just love doing that.
I know you do.
And they have the team playing winning baseball for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
So they have the right coach in place. They have some good players in place, some young players in place. They need to go out and now address some other needs and figure out how to turn this team into an actual contender, as opposed to just they're fun to watch.
And it looks like you have 3, I guess, if you want to say legitimate Rookie of the Year candidates on your squad right now. Okay, that's cool. It's a step in the right direction, and I dig that. That's fantastic. So hopefully this isn't just like a 1 year, flash in the pan type thing, and I don't think it is with Casey Mize. I really don't. Maybe it is with Baddoo, and maybe it is with Haas. I don't know. But you're trending in the right direction, and now it's time to take the next step.
Yeah.
And again, it's Chris Ilitch. Who the hell knows what he's going to do?
Yeah, he held off last year on that next step.
Yep.
I mean, we could argue that it would have been time last year, but I think after having 2 years of second half baseball that's been better than average, it's showing that these guys, you're allowing them to get used to the game they're playing.
Yeah, I mean,
now spend a little bit of money and let's get going.
It's time. It's time to move this team forward, and if you don't, you're just gonna have a bunch of pissed off fans, and you're gonna have an empty stadium like you have now. So, and I know, especially coming off COVID, when you couldn't have fans at all. I know you don't want that because you're losing out on money, dude.
Right.
And granted, the TV contract is kind of making up for that.
Right.
But you can't tell me you're not embarrassed by seeing an empty stadium every game, every other game, whatever. So again, it's time. You got to do your thing, man.
And I think that's the best answer we can give.
It's time.
The time is right for him to do that.
And Kathy, thank you for the phone call.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
You can call in or text. It started today. We took a week off. We're trying to figure this out. Call or text 313-403-8448. I believe we did miss a phone call there while we were addressing Kathy's phone call. So if you feel like calling back, please give us a call back. We will take your phone call. We only have one line, so sometimes, sometimes if you're calling at the same time as somebody else, or we're on the line with somebody else, just give us a call back.
Yeah, we're kind of figuring this out as we go. So
and we're
which is kind of how our show is premised, as we just kind of figure it out as we go.
Well, and as you know, if you've been listening to us, we're adding new things all the time. We're always trying to get better, and this is one of those things that we think will make us better as a show and as a podcast. And it's a work in progress. We're always trying to work on things. So we'd love it if you'd join in.
Absolutely, yeah. Like we like interacting with the people that listen to our show and support us. So by all means, if you guys got a question or anything like that, we are definitely open to that.
Looks like we got another.
Yep, we have another call coming in. Yes, you're live on Sports on Tap. Go ahead.
Oh, I just noticed I've known you for a long time, and your last name is Joe Waddell, and I noticed that it was pronounced correctly for, I think, the first time. I'm a religious watcher, so.
All right.
Anyway, I just wanted to see how cool it was.
All right, excellent. Well, thanks for the call. I appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. So.
All right.
Hey, it's nice. All right. We did want to talk about the Tigers anyway, so
we
can just continue talking about the Tigers.
I'm glad caller Kathy kind of led off with that, so that's cool. But they're kind of playing now. The water's starting to find its level a little bit, And I know they're taking on your Red Sox in like a 4-game series coming. Is it a 4-game series?
I think it's only a 3-game this week.
But even though like the water's kind of found its level a little bit with this team, I still like the direction that they are trending in, and I mean these people who kind of started drinking the Kool-Aid said, they can contend for like the second wild card spot. Stop it. That's not happening. Stop it.
It's a nice thought.
It's a nice thought, but that's not happening.
As far-fetched as you would have been 3-4 years ago by saying that. But no, you've still probably realistically got another 2 to 3 years before we start actually sniffing the playoffs.
Now what they did or didn't do at the trade deadline, like maybe trading Jonathan Scope or something like that, I'm all right that they didn't didn't do it, because I mean you look at the trades that Avila has made. What would you have gotten for him? You know.
Yeah, at this point, we've got nothing in return for some of the best players in baseball.
Exactly.
Right now.
What would you have gotten for him? And you know, I was fine that they kept him. Now here's kind of the issue. Do you re-sign him in the offseason? Or do you give him an extension, whatever? And I don't know. He's a versatile player. You know, he plays second, he played first. You know, that's cool. Dude's a decent hitter. You know, I think he'd be more, in the grand scheme of things, I think he'd more be in like kind of the lower end of your lineup.
Right.
You know, maybe like 6, 7, something like that. If you get some, higher, better talent in here, I think he'd be a guy to fill out your lineup. So I mean, if the price is right, yeah, bring him back. But if he's going to ask for, boatloads of money,
you have to do what makes sense,
man.
Right? You're a team that's building,
right? Like you had a nice season, but come on,
you can't break the bank on a guy who's not going to be a difference maker.
No, exactly.
If Carlos Correa is available and you decide to break the bank on him,
I'm all right with that.
Understandable.
I'm okay with that.
But there's very few guys like that I'm going into this offseason saying yes, give them whatever they want.
But speaking of the trade deadline, what a wild trade deadline this was. This might be the most active trade deadline I think I've ever seen.
I don't remember a trade deadline where we sat there talking about one team getting guys.
Right.
And then when the deadline came,
it was like
their rival ended up.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't happen very often.
But like as much as I don't like the Dodgers, I respect them because they do this.
Yep.
They're like, you know what? Yeah, we just won last year, but you know what? We want to win again. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
So you had Turner and Scherzer.
Yeah, fine. I fucking love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nuts.
On top of the fact that
it is
one of your biggest issues, San Diego, was rumored to be going after Scherzer. So not only did you add Scherzer, but you prevented a team from getting him.
And you added Trey Turner.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the throw-in on the deal.
Exactly. So, and that's what Mike did. Mike Ilitch did when he was running the Tigers, and they had those good teams for that stretch of years.
But LA's also showing you LA's shelf life is only another couple of years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're selling the farm right now.
Yeah,
they're doing what the Tigers were doing in 13, 14, shit like that.
But unfortunately, they got it done.
Right.
And the Tigers,
and that's the difference.
Yeah. So and that's the thing, because they actually spent the money, or got pieces in the correct places and filled their bullpen with guys who could actually pitch, and the Tigers did not.
Wait a minute, Phil Coke couldn't pitch,
and not to mention like the Dodgers can beat you in so many different ways. They aren't a glorified softball team,
right?
Like those Tigers teams were.
No, they're playing real baseball.
Yeah, like they can beat.
It's
a
team that can play small ball. It's a team that can play long ball.
And that was another thing that killed those Tigers teams. Is they were a glorified softball team, and they couldn't manufacture runs. But this Dodger team, they can manufacture runs, and that's why honestly, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if they won another one this year. I don't want them to, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Well, you had like those moves that the Dodgers made. You had the moves that the Mets made. The Cubs just basically unloaded the clip on their freaking team. Jesus, man.
The Cubs had a going out of business.
Yeah, they did.
For real, that's the best way to say it. Like, I'm watching them, and I'm just like, Chris has got to be losing his shit right now. There goes Bryant. There goes Javi.
It was like the blue light special at Walmart.
For real.
The only one that
They came over the PA and just went, hey, all hands on deck. Everybody's good.
Yep. Honestly, the only one I was...
Gone in 5 minutes.
The only one I was somewhat mad about was Javi. I was fine letting Rizzo go. And
I was surprised seeing Javi go.
And I was fine letting... I wanted Chris Bryant traded a few years ago. I just thought he had reached the ceiling. I didn't think he was going to get any better.
would have gotten more for him a few years ago.
I do as well. But the only one I was kind of disappointed was Javi, because I think he is going to get slightly better. Mm-hmm. But I think when he got to free agency, he was going to try to break the bank.
Yeah.
And to me, that would have been crazy for Javi. The dude strikes out way too much. Way too much. For a guy that you're asking top dollar for. Like, no. And Rizzo's kind of... I'm not saying he's old, but he's over 30.
He's aging.
Yeah, so...
For a baseball player.
Exactly, for a baseball player. So I was fine with Bryant and Rizzo getting let go, especially with the prospects that they got back.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, all right, I can live with that. Like, you didn't pull an Al Avila. You actually got legitimate prospects back. So, in that regard, I was fine with it. But it just sucks that you see that team that won in 2016, and they're, like, all gone. Mm-hmm. Like, that entire team, which should have been the start of a dynasty, is gone. And that's amazing to me.
You've said it with two of the guys. You can even argue that they held on for too long with them.
Maybe. Yeah, that's quite the possibility. It's sad because that team should have won more than one World Series. Mm-hmm. They absolutely should have, and they didn't. And I'm glad they won the one. It was great, but they should have won more. It's kind of like those Braves teams, man. Like those Braves teams in the 90s and the early 2000s.
That should have won
they should have won multiple World Series. And
the
fact that they only won one is mind-blowing to me.
Or the Tigers from 2006.
Right, exactly.
20.
Especially with that rotation that those Braves teams had. Holy shit, man. But that's baseball. That's why baseball is a beautiful game. Like you can have like such a glowing rotation or a great lineup or something like that and not necessarily win.
And still screw the pooch.
Exactly. Because the playoff baseball, it's a completely different animal, man. Completely different.
That's why I love playoff baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. It's
the same game but entirely different.
It's like any playoffs, though.
I was gonna say
to an extent, yeah.
It's kind of like
you look
playoff hockey.
Yeah, you look at the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's night and day.
Oh, for sure.
That is night and day. Like the NFL playoffs, I get maybe to a degree. I don't think
it's more geared towards defense in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Than it is. So the better defenses don't necessarily win all the games in the regular season.
Right.
You can get by with in a good offense and not a good defense in the regular season, but in the playoffs, that better defense more than likely is gonna get you the game.
Probably.
I mean that's what changes in NFL playoffs. It's not as drastic a change as hockey,
right?
Or even as baseball, but there is that small, minute difference in gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would tend to agree. Basketball, I don't really see a huge difference between regular season and NBA basketball and playoff basketball. I know there is somewhat of a difference, but it's just kind of it's not to the degree that these other sports are.
I see a difference in the NBA finals than the rest of the basketball, but even in the playoffs,
I can live with that.
Yeah, even in the playoffs, I don't see big difference between regular season.
And speaking of the NBA, the Pistons, like what they did in the draft.
Beautiful.
I fucking love what they did in the draft.
It's beautiful.
Loved it.
Home run.
He is turning that. Talk about a GM going from Al Avila to this guy is like night and day. I mean, this guy makes trades. He wheels and deals.
Yep.
His draft picks to me, and now this draft class hasn't played a game yet, but you got your guy in Cade Cunningham, which everyone kind of thought you were going to get, and then
I'm just glad they didn't overthink that.
You and me both. And then you come out and you get somebody like Garza, who was
NCAA Player of the Year in the second round.
Yeah, who was a stud. And then you also got Livers, who's a local kid, and he's a good basketball player. For where you got him at in the draft, he's a good player. He's just made some moves that it's just, again, it's night and day from one of the other general managers we're talking about.
Yeah.
In Detroit.
He's not going to – it doesn't seem like this is a dude that's going to get stiffed on a trade or anything like that. Or
whereas, has Al Avila won a trade ever? Like, I've never seen anybody make so many trades and so many moves that has lost so many of them.
All honesty, at this point, I think Avila's been shut out on every trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that.
Gotten nothing.
It's hard to argue.
There's not even one guy that I see on this team that's like, oh, well, we at least got him. Norris just left.
Yeah.
That was a piece in, what was it, the Cespedes deal that we got Norris?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
So even those trades, we're dropping guys left and right that we picked up at one point for the best of what we had.
Right.
And we're getting absolutely nothing. We're not even getting minor league players.
Right. You're getting yeah. Like, and I kind of like what he did in free agency yesterday with the Olynyk signing.
That was a great signing.
I'm down with that. And the two other guys, the names escape me right now. But
so basically, Olynyk takes the place of Plumlee.
Yep.
Plum Dog Millionaire.
But he's a better version of Mason Plumlee.
He's a better
assuming
version.
he can continue what he did in Houston.
Right.
Well, and in Houston he had a career year, but he's basically a career 13 point scorer, right?
Around.
So
I think he was averaging like 19 last year.
He was, but that was 1 year on a team that had nobody. So let's call that a little bit of an anomaly.
Even when he was in Boston, though, he had Smart No, he was out of there before Smart.
But he can shoot the three,
right?
So that already is better than Plumlee, and he's a big guy. Was he 6'11"?
Yeah,
so when it comes down to it, he's a better guy to fill that role. They had to pay him a little more, but it's a 3-year contract. I like it. He's a role player.
The other thing I like about it too, and one of you kind of hinted at it earlier when I mentioned who the Lakers had signed. He's not wasting his time going out and getting these players at the end of their career.
Yeah, like exactly what the Lakers have just done, pretty much.
Like I can respect when you go out and you get a Carmelo Anthony because he's going to sell jerseys, he's going to put fans in the stands,
right?
But it doesn't do anything for your team.
No, I don't.
I'm glad we're not signing guys like that.
That's going to be interesting to watch, that whole situation in L.A., man.
It's going to be a fucking banana boat.
We got a couple of messages here I want to read from our listeners. So Joseph says, love playoff baseball. Players seem more engaged because every game is meaningful. Regular season baseball, there's so many games.
Oh, yeah. That's the baseball season. We've said this numerous times that the season should be cut down significantly, in my opinion. But
Yep. And then we also have a couple from Jeremy. By the way, we have he says Detroit sports teams can be described as acceptance of mediocrity by a damn championship.
The Lions 100%, yes.
That's definitely acceptance of mediocrity for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons, I'll disagree with that because I don't think they bought any of their championships.
No.
They didn't. I think he's just saying he wants them to buy championships.
Oh yeah,
as opposed to just accepting mediocrity.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you got to spend money obviously to be competitive.
Yeah.
I mean but I don't want to outright say that a team bought. Maybe the O2 Red Wings bought a championship.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to I say it's hard to disagree with that. But
I'm not going to disagree with that at all because that is the case. That is absolutely the case.
Being an avid hater of the team, I would argue the Yankees have bought championships in the past.
Absolutely, they have.
Yeah,
100%. The Red Sox have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, all right, maybe.
I mean, the Tigers tried to buy one, and it failed miserably. But yeah, I mean, this town is very accepting of mediocrity, and it's sad, but it's a sports mad town, which is sad. And they'd rather go watch a mediocre product than demand a better one and not go. And that's always been funny to me. And like I'll go to Tiger Days just because I love going to baseball games, even though they're a terrible product. But I'll absolutely go. And I guess I'm part of the problem in that regard. But I'm sorry, I love going to baseball games.
Yeah, but they've also given us, and when I say us, the fan base, a reason to still have faith that they're doing something. Like, yes, right now they have everything wrong.
Yeah.
And they're moving in a good direction.
Yeah.
But there's still that reservation that all Tigers fans have that this could also turn south, literally in one game.
Absolutely.
But they've given you reason to have hope. A team like the Lions, cross off this entire offseason if you think things are going to be different, good for you. But they've never done anything to make you think that things are changing.
And that's the only one I don't get.
Right.
This is how you still support that franchise. If they've literally given you no reason to, like, things are going to be better, or there's light at the end of the tunnel with that franchise. And that's, again, we've gone over this ad nauseum. That's why I'm just done.
I feel like whenever we actually end this, like, for good, that last show, I'm going to have to actually answer that question because I feel like weekly it comes up.
It does.
It's like the one question that I will never answer on this show is why I still support that team.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a good reason.
Yeah, you've refused to answer that. I actually got into a pretty heated debate this weekend. We had our pre-draft meeting for my big fantasy draft.
Speaking of that, we have some news on that coming up.
Yes, we do. But with that being said, so we got into after the meeting was over with, which is why I was late getting here, Chris.
Yep.
We had a pretty heated debate about a few things, and one of them was the NIL. And the other one was Detroit Lions, and I was sitting with a couple of Lions Kool-Aid drinkers, I'll call them.
Yeah,
very good friends of mine, love them to death. But the Lions still can do no wrong in their eyes, and it's like, all right, well, you got to give him a chance. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not giving this coach a chance. He's a clown.
I was going to say that argument went out the window like 20 years ago, in my opinion.
And their argument was, well, you don't even know you just know that from his press conferences, you're just making fun of him. I go, well, yeah, absolutely. His press conferences were a joke. Well, which ones? The one where he's talking about biting kneecaps off. First of all, his first press conference.
The first one, the second one,
the one where he comes out.
The last one, everyone in between that.
And you're a huge Lions fan saying that. And I told him, I said, including the one where he comes out in a fucking Grand Prix helmet.
Yeah.
And he's breathing up like he's like,
sounding like Darth Vader.
He's fogging up the fucking mask.
Right.
And then they're like, well, he's just having fun. We need something different here. I'm like, you don't need a clown. I'm sorry. You don't need a clown. This guy's a clown.
Like, in all honesty, when it comes to this dude, like, do I have faith things are going to be a little bit different? Sure, it's a different person.
They can't get worse.
Right. And that's kind of how I look at it.
They can't get worse.
This team was 0-16 how many years ago? Like, it literally does not get worse.
I mean, shit, you're already off to a better start. This team doesn't hate their head coach already.
Right.
Well, yeah, so the team likes him. Excuse me. That'll only go so far. right? So that'll only go so far.
Yeah,
and then
guys liking a coach doesn't win you games.
No,
exactly.
And that rah-rah shit has a shelf life,
right? It absolutely does, and that's what I tried to say is that sis boom ba rah-rah bullshit. We're trying to get everybody fired up all the time.
Yep.
It only goes so far in the pros.
Yep.
And I like the other moves. I like the other coaches. And then of course the argument became, well, who do you think had a hand in those coaching hires? I said, not Dan Campbell.
No, hell no.
I don't look at it and say he's the mastermind behind signing those assistant coaches. I'm sorry, I don't. Maybe he knows some of them. Maybe some were guys that he suggested, but he didn't fucking hire them. He wasn't the main guy behind this whole regime.
I fully believe he had a say in every one of those coaches, but is he the one who suggested they hire every one of those coaches? Probably not.
No.
Until this guy,
and if he is, it's incredibly fucking stupid to let a first-time head coach handpick his entire staff.
But wouldn't that just be like the Lion way to do
100%?
So maybe he did have a hand in it. Like maybe he did do all of it.
Well, and the other thing is, coach. Oh, here's one from Michael Long. Coach Clown is not playing. Gee whiz! Look at the two clowns you are sitting with. Oh, all right. Well, I mean. I think we'd all be clowns at this point, I guess. But if you don't think your Lions head coach is a clown, go back and look at his press conferences. He's a joke. The entire league has made fun of him. The entire national media has made fun of him. And it's not just because of Matt Patricia. They made fun of Matt Patricia for things when he started losing. Until he started losing, they didn't make fun of him.
No, they didn't.
I mean, I flat out told you he was going to lose. But when it comes down to it, the national media was still on board with that one.
Like
this one, the national media is laughing at you for this hire. They're laughing at him.
Like I've said before, win some games. If you want to act a fool, act like a clown, win some fucking football games. And then you can do whatever the hell you want. But until you actually win some fucking games, stop this shit. You seriously, you're an embarrassment. You're a fucking embarrassment.
Yeah. So when I'm of the mindset he's done so many stupid things so far in press conferences, it's a joke to me. And unless he proves me wrong, here's Michael Long again, Coach Clown is just trying to grab attention. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And it's a clown move, and it's a move that is to me amateur.
Is he trying to grab attention for himself or his team? Or to me, it seems like he's trying to grab attention for himself.
And I agree with that. And either way, on a team that has such a losing history like the Lions, you don't need a coach like that. Don't grab attention for stupid shit. Go out there and win games. Grab attention for that.
Yep.
And you know who's done that? The Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
They have a coach that you don't hear from him. But guess what? He won Coach of the Year last year. But you didn't hear shit from him.
Yep.
He didn't go out in fucking Grand Prix helmets. He didn't go out talking about biting off kneecaps. You couldn't give me one quote from Stefanski. Not one. Because he doesn't put himself out there like that. But guess what? He coached that fucking team to the playoffs, and they won a playoff game.
When's the last time the Lions won a playoff game? 1991?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
I mean, that's just the Lion way.
Mr. Long, I appreciate you texting in, though.
Yes, we do. Thank you. We definitely appreciate that. So, you know what else you'll appreciate?
Not answering that.
My guy Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank. If you're looking to refinance or even consolidate debt, there's no better time to do it than right now. Give my guy Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank a call today at 248-675-0675. Rates are currently incredibly low, so don't miss out on this great opportunity. Also, mention this ad from Sports on Tap and get hooked up with $500 off. So trust me, give my guy Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank a call today at 248-675-0675. Flagstar Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, buddy.
Sorry. Dramatic pause.
You did a good job there.
Thank
you. It was a good read.
Thanks. Yes. I pride myself on that.
As well you should. As well you should. In this type of industry. All right, what are we getting into next, boys?
Okay, I want to do some Olympics.
Okay.
Like
I'm in for that.
This might be the least interested I've ever been in an Olympics ever.
And it's shocking because I sit there and I watch the Olympics religiously.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched 5 minutes of this shit this year.
I've watched slightly more than that, but even though we went through watching sports during COVID and lockdown,
I watched some female beach volleyball. That's what I've watched.
Fair enough.
I would have watched it. I haven't come across, like, everything's on at 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it's on really
1 in
late.
the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
I
got to get back into my workflow for me to catch all that shit.
I'll get to that point a little later. But we went through COVID watching games without fans, and it's the same during these Olympics, and it's just not the same atmosphere. There's no energy.
Right.
Like, you love seeing these people that win gold, and the place is going nuts, and you just see it. That's just a cool moment, but you're not getting that. And honestly, I feel bad for these athletes. I really do, because that sucks. You basically train for 5 years, and you don't get that. You don't get that reaction. You don't get to hug your parents. You don't get to hug your friends, family, any of that shit.
They haven't even trained for 4 years this time. It's 5 years this time because it got postponed a year.
And why they're still calling it Tokyo 2020 is fucking stupid. It's 2021.
Yeah,
I don't understand that at all.
But
I digress.
But I'm with you on the fact that I'm just not as interested as I usually am. I'm usually pretty interested in the Olympics.
Yeah,
and I'm not. I've watched a little beach volleyball for obvious reasons, but also just because it was on.
Right.
I mean, that's what was on when I turned it on.
That's kind of what I've watched, is because it was on.
Right. It's not that I necessarily tune into anything, and I have in the past. Mm-hmm. I absolutely have in the past. And one of the reasons, at least here to me, is a lot of times we've watched the Olympic basketball team, and they're not doing much at all.
Nope.
I mean, they're not attention grabbing right now.
Nope.
It's funny because they're not even a bad team. They might as well be non-existent.
I mean, they did lose to France.
Yeah, they're also in the. I think they're in the semifinal.
Are they really?
Yeah, so they're gonna end up in a medal game either way. Like, it's not that they're a bad team.
I think we're just
they lost to France, like you had just said, and that kind of started everything off on the wrong foot, and nobody really jumped on. It's literally the exact same thing with women's soccer.
And they had some losses leading up to it, too,
right.
though. So they had some losses leading up to the Olympics. Then in the Olympics, they had the loss to France. And I think there's no real star power on that team now. Like, in years past, there's been stars on the Olympic basketball team. No, there is.
If LeBron's playing, ESPN's all over this.
All over. And there's other players there that are very, very, very good NBA players, but you don't have the star power.
Right.
And they're not catching the attention. So it's not like usually you have the U.S. Olympic basketball team that is, you're just looking at them dominate everybody.
Right.
And this year, that's not the case, and they don't have any big names on that team, so they're just not drawing the attention, and nothing else really is to me. It's just not. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you why. It's just not.
It's just, and I saw the women's soccer team lost to Canada, and I almost bet the house on that game on Canada.
On Canada?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't like. I think the rest of the world is finally starting to catch up to the women's soccer team, which is it's good for the sport because it creates more competition.
Yep.
And I'm all for that. But you see it. It's like we're not the best anymore, man.
I also look at it and say not that I have any idea of how to put a fucking soccer team together. So don't take this as me trying to say I have knowledge of that. But a lot of the women that we have on this team have been on this team for years.
Oh yeah.
They're not age-wise, but they're over the hill. They're past their peak.
Yeah, but that's kind of goes to my point. It's like they're not bringing up that elite talent anymore.
You bring up this next batch of girls, story might be different.
Right.
But if you're not doing that, then you're leveling the playing field by not doing it.
And like I said, I think that's good for the sport because I mean, when you had the USA dominating like every international competition, that leads to boredom. People don't want to watch it.
Right.
It's like, USA is going to win. And the point I wanted to get to earlier is another reason why I really haven't watched this. NBC's done a horrific job televising this thing.
The coverage has been awful.
Oh, it's been terrible. You don't know what channel stuff's on. You don't know what time it starts. You don't know if you're watching live or taped. You have no freaking idea. And they've done an absolutely horrific job with covering the Olympics this year. Horrific. I get it's like a half a day ahead of us. I understand that. But dude, you got to tell us when this stuff is on and what channel it's on.
I always have two things in the summer the Summer Olympics that I will watch regardless. And that's always been the swimming and the gymnastics.
Yep.
I don't know why those are the two things that I'm so interested in, but I love watching those two.
All right.
The swimming, I didn't even know was last week.
Exactly.
I was starting to get notifications. I was off camping, and I started getting notifications of who was medaling. And I went, wait, swimming was this week? Like, when did that happen? Gymnastics, same thing. I had no idea what was going on with gymnastics outside of the Simone Biles situation.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Right, and I knew by bringing that up, it'd throw us there.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Outside of that, I had no idea that gymnastics was even going on.
Before we get to the gymnastics, though, I do want to. So we had another text in.
I was going to say you're over here laughing.
That's it. Yeah, I laughed at it. Mr. Long said, "No problem. I just feel that the Lions are so weak at every position. He's going to bite his own kneecaps." So, which
now I'll pay to see that.
Right. I mean, at the rate this team's going, I might start biting my own kneecaps.
Yeah, I'll pay to see that.
So I could be
to bite my own.
So when that one came across, I did laugh. I apologize for laughing in the microphone, but
nicely done.
That is true. I mean, the team on paper, you look at them, you're like, I don't know how anybody expects them to actually win. But anyway, I digress. We're going to get off of that and go back into Simone Biles.
So, I mean, unless you're living under a rock, you kind of know what happened with Simone Biles. You know, during these Olympics, she did an event, didn't do well,
right,
and then she basically pulled herself out of like every competition that she was in,
right,
and it was because of mental health. Now, while I feel that mental health I'm glad that it's finally getting more attention than it has in the past, and it fully should. I'm sick and tired of hearing people call her a hero for doing it, because I don't think she is a hero for doing that.
No, I think when you were one of the first people to do it, maybe the hero tag could be a little bit more applicable then.
That's not a hero to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, stop it.
If you were an original in doing that, I could see maybe, but right now, no. Now you're somebody who looked out for themselves, and I'm not calling you selfish by any means.
Not at all.
I'm just saying I don't see it as anything more than that.
No, I think we tossed the hero word around
100%.
too much. It's you can't call somebody a hero for every single thing they do because they're setting a trend or whatever. It's she made a decision for her own livelihood,
and that's fine.
Which is fine. I'm all for that. I the only thing I have a problem with is if she had taken, and I don't know this for a fact, so you guys might be able to correct me on this. So she gained these spots on the Olympic team and then has now withdrawn from several events.
Right.
Did she take those spots from some other U.S. athlete who could now be competing because she decided not to?
She qualified legitimately.
I'm not saying saying she qualified. But why she's there now, she's withdrawing herself. So somebody else back here who didn't qualify over her now could be competing if she had decided this before she went to the Olympics now.
So Michaela Skinner, she is a gymnast. She was an alternate on the team. She ended up winning silver in the vault, which is the event that Simone pulled out of.
Okay,
so she wasn't actually a part of the team, but when Simone pulled out, she became eligible to become part of that event.
Okay.
So and it's funny that you mentioned that because I've seen a lot of people making that argument. And I was just going to say before you asked that is she didn't take anything from anybody. Nobody's losing out on her being there.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. gym program is losing out on the money to fly her there.
Well, yeah.
That's the only loss that I know of that's actually going on because she's there. I've heard things back and forth. I've heard health issues. I've heard just the mental health stuff. Gymnastics is such a funny sport.
But she addressed it, though. She said it was.
And see, that's the thing. Like I said, I literally might as well have been living under a rock for the last week. She said it was her mental health. It was all mental. Because what I was reading was at one point she had forgotten how to do the turns. Like her twists in the air, she had just totally forgotten how to do them. Just couldn't do them.
Well,
so even with her beam exercise that she did yesterday, she had to alter it because she couldn't. She just forgot how to do it.
She got the yips.
Yeah,
she got the yips.
And for somebody who's that big to just forget, like, I think it kind of turns everything around and shows you, no, these are still human beings.
They are. And again,
like athletes, yes, but human beings nonetheless.
Like I said, nothing against her. You did what you felt was best for yourself. And I'm obviously 100% fine with that. You should absolutely do that. But to throw the term hero around is just nonsensical to me.
I like the way Jeremy's throwing the term hero around because he said that this is Jeremy. He says, you guys are my heroes. # my life is sad. So
thanks, buddy.
I mean, thanks for the compliment, and then thanks for telling us we're only your heroes because your life is sad. I guess I don't know, man. That was like a backhanded compliment, but we'll take it.
Absolutely.
Coming from Jeremy, I expect that.
Yeah, like we'll take.
In all honesty, we've probably thrown a couple back at him. So.
I mean, yeah. We used to throw each other shit around at each other all the time back in the day. But yeah, that's
appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah. So
we're here for you.
I was gonna say this isn't necessarily like a counselor podcast, but if you need to talk, we do have a phone line.
We're here for you.
Love you, bud. If you want to give us a call, 313-403-8448. Give us a call or a text on there, and maybe we can, I don't know, talk you off the ledge. I guess I don't know.
We could talk about the sad life that you claim you have.
It's funny.
I don't think you have a sad life, bro.
No, not at all.
But anyway,
no, not at all. 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, Chris, I'm with you there. I really am. You can't be called a hero for things like this. It's just not. You made the right decision for yourself, which nobody should hate you for, and then just let it go. We don't have to describe.
And I really feel like after last year, we kind of redefine heroes as what they actually are.
Right?
Like
exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, like you want to say that she's a hero,
right?
In the same vein as like one of the frontline like workers is a hero,
right?
Stop it. That's not even. That's apples and oranges.
Like,
man.
If you want to call her the spokesperson for mental health,
fine.
That's up to you.
But there's
a
been other
is an entirely different.
There's been other athletes that have done this and withdrawn from tournaments for mental health before her. So it's not even like she's a trendsetter. She made a decision for her own mental health,
right?
And done. Okay, done.
Yep.
Like,
and the funny thing is, if it had been like anybody else on that team,
wouldn't have been.
Nobody would have cared.
Nobody would have cared. And would you call them a hero? No.
No.
So I mean, let's stop with the narrative that she's a hero for doing this, because she isn't. She just did what was best for herself. And again, props to you. That's
right.
That's awesome. But I'm sorry, you're not a hero.
I think I'll speak for all of us and say we all support her doing whatever she has to do to keep herself right. But the term hero is just a little bit.
It's a bit.
It's being used very loosely here.
It's a bit much in that regard. But
I think the word hero gets used really loosely these days.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things that do.
That's true, yeah. There's a lot of loose things these days.
Yes. Like every one of the Kardashians.
Gotcha. Damn, I got you both to fall away from the table on that one. That was fantastic.
Like I said, every one of the Kardashians.
It's funny because I was falling this way, and now I want to fall that way at the Kardashians comment.
So there is something we need to discuss, and I want to preface this with basically a PSA. This is going to be none of this is political, because we don't discuss politics here. None of this is political, and I want to say that from the start. I think we all three agree on that too many things have become political these days, and what we're about to discuss a little bit of is not political by any means. So you can take that and shove it up your ass if you think it's political.
It's just unfortunate that a part of it has to do with the politics.
Right. It's unfortunate that it's turned into that. So with that being said, some things are going down in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
With the I have trouble calling it vaccine. The shot for COVID, right? And a coach got fired for not getting it.
We should call it a tune-up.
A tune-up. A tune-up. Yeah. I mean, it's like the flu shot, right? So it's not an actual vaccine. That's why I have trouble calling it a vaccine. But it's like a flu shot for COVID. Yeah. It keeps you from getting as sick as you would if you got COVID. So, and again, I'm gonna beg everybody, if you read politics into this, please kiss my ass, because it has nothing to do with that. But when it comes down to it, the NFL has decided that they're going to be very strict on the rules this year as far as COVID goes, which is fantastic. I think they should be strict on those rules for, teams doing what they need to do to not contract COVID and not get sick during the year. The only problem I have, and I know you guys will have maybe a different aspect on this. I have a problem with NFL teams basically mandating the shot for their coaches and players. And for one reason and one reason alone. If it was they got the shot and we're not going to get COVID, and that's the only way the team would go without getting COVID, I'm all for it. Boom. No problem. My problem is I've seen recently quite a few coaches and players out with COVID. They still have to miss time They would still have to, if it was in the regular season, they'd have to miss a game. They'd have to quarantine, and they already got the shot.
I mean, shit.
So
Maylock out in Vegas
Mike
right
Matt.
now just got diagnosed with it, and he had gotten the shot.
He had gotten the shot. So mandating a shot so that the teams don't miss games and that you don't infect the rest of your team, when the shot doesn't actually keep that from happening, I have a problem with that. That's my main problem, and I messaged that to you guys when I saw the headline of a coach getting it that already had the shot, and I believe it was Frank Reich actually. So for me, I'm having trouble understanding this, and it's not politics to me. I'm just having trouble understanding it from an aspect of if you can still get COVID, if you can still miss time, if you can still infect your teammates, why are we requiring them to get shots to play on the team and to stay on the team? I just don't understand it.
And before I say what I'm going to say, I am in no way, shape, or form a legal expert.
No.
I'm the type of person that lives my life the way I want to live it and just hope that it doesn't cross lines of legality. I question the legality when it comes to this, though. That's what I was saying to you guys.
Yeah.
I really feel like the situation ends up in a courtroom before the end of it.
Oh, I can absolutely see that happening.
Because I don't know... and I'm not saying right or wrong whether they should or shouldn't do this. Like the vaccine thing's an entirely up to the individual type of situation, in my opinion.
Yep.
But I don't see a situation where you can actually tell somebody you have to do this. I mean,
we do have a phone call coming in. Hello, you're live on Sports on Tap.
Hi, my name is Nancy, and I want to comment about the COVID shot.
Yes, absolutely.
I truly believe that everyone in this country should be getting the COVID vaccine or shot. The reason being, it's not saying that you won't get sick with COVID. It means that you won't. The probabilities of you dying from it are a whole lot less than if you don't. It's exactly the same thing as with the flu shot. You get the flu shot once a year. You might get the flu, but it's not going to be as intense as if you didn't get the vaccine for the flu. Believe me, been there, done it.
Right. Yeah, I think. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that phone call. I think I think all three of us sitting on this in this room right now would agree with that. And that's the premise behind the shot. In my opinion, from what I've seen, that's the premise behind the shot is to keep people out of the hospital, to keep people from dying.
Yeah.
You can still get it. You can still get sick, but you don't get as sick. You don't end up in the hospital, and it keeps the hospitals from being overwhelmed. Which to me, the shot has worked on that level, right?
Yeah.
It's worked on that level. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. Excuse me. On the level that I disagree with it is, if you can still get COVID, and the NFL teams, so we're talking about the NFL teams, we're talking about them requiring the shot so that teams don't miss games, they don't have to cancel games, because they've discussed they're not going to postpone games anymore. They're going to cancel them, and you're going to forfeit them if your team gets COVID. Right. But if the shot doesn't keep anybody from actually getting it, if it just keeps you out of the hospital, then the NFL requiring it for their reasoning makes no sense to me.
But isn't that the point, is to keep people out of the hospital and to keep people from dying?
If you get the shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
which
we're talking about
with full disclosure, I've gotten the shot.
Me as well.
So have you. I haven't.
And that's fair.
Right? Yeah. So for me, I'm all about everybody gets what they want. If you want to get the shot, get it. If you don't, you don't. Right? So with this being said, I'm talking only on the NFL policy, right? Mm-hmm. So their NFL policy is they want as few games to be canceled as possible. They want as few players to get it. Yeah. So the main thing is, on that reasoning, the shot doesn't really do anything because we've had people miss time now for getting COVID with the shot.
To summarize kind of what I think you're saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
This is a situation where, okay, so the Lions go to play the Bengals. Throw it out there.
Oh, good Lord.
And, Lions got 53-man roster, and 20 of those guys end up, after getting the vaccine, with COVID.
Right.
Regardless of having the shot or not, those 20 guys are still out.
Right.
Yeah. So
exactly.
If you're going to be out either way,
then why are we mandating?
Yeah, then I don't understand the mandate.
That's exactly my point. Maybe I wasn't explaining it properly, but that's exactly my point. If the
oddly enough, I agree with you on that.
If the end game is still that you can still get COVID,
right? You
can still pass it around the locker room, and you can still miss time and miss games. Requiring the shot for them makes no sense. Now, requiring it for people or asking the majority of people to get it, to stay out of the hospitals, to stop overwhelming the hospitals, That portion of it, I understand. I understand that. On the other level, if you have the vaccine and I don't, I pose no threat to you. Because even if I get COVID, it's just going to be worse on me. You still have the shot. If you get it, you won't end up as bad, right? So you got the shot for you to keep yourself out of the hospital. Me not getting it is my choice. It does no harm to you for me not to get it, in my opinion. And if I'm wrong, I really am asking you guys to explain it to me, because the thing to me
can't explain it to you because, like I said, I almost agree with what you're saying.
Because the thing to me is, I feel like I want to have this discussion with you guys, because I feel like for some reason
I've literally been dreading this for almost 2 weeks now.
But I don't, because I think if we can have a discussion like this as three friends in a room and have a discussion, zero politics involved, because that's what I hate about this bullshit, is have a genuine, honest discussion about this, what the NFL is doing, and this. Then maybe other people can have conversations and take a page out of our book and say, all right, we can have actual conversations. This has nothing to do with politics, in my opinion.
Right.
Zero.
It's just a situation that happens to be political at the same time.
Right.
Which it shouldn't have been political to begin with.
It shouldn't have.
It shouldn't have been.
And let's just throw this out there. If it's political, Donald Trump got the fucking shot, first of all. So he got it. So why is it political on that side of it? You know what I mean?
Say Trump and Biden have both had it.
They both had it. They both got it. Right?
We've covered right and left.
So let's get that out of the way. And if it
was developed under Trump, it was administered under Biden,
and they both got the shot.
So there we go.
So they both have volunteered to get the shot. So that takes politics out of it as well. And it's one of the major groups to have not gotten the shot yet is inner cities and minorities, which mainly are Democratic for the most part.
Right.
So again, if you're arguing politics in this, you're arguing a stupid point in it. So I'm just going to point that out to you. Politics has nothing to do with our discussion here. Zero.
And we're also not telling anybody to or not to get the shot.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, please do not take this as us telling you. And what you decide to do is what you decide to do. We are not here to tell you what to do.
Right.
We are just discussing how this applies to the NFL in this situation.
And from what I read today is that the NFL is, I believe, at 90% fully vaccinated.
I believe that.
I believe I read that today.
Wow. So that's a large number.
Yes, that is a large number. It's, I don't know, maybe this is me being ignorant, but you got guys like Cole Beasley out there. Like, some of the stuff he says, I'm just kind of like, all right, man. Like, I don't.
It's from a stand-up, and it's an old joke, but you can't fix stupid.
No, and
people are just gonna say dumb shit.
Right. Like, honestly, if you want to keep your if you're vaxxed or not vaxxed to yourself, you should absolutely do that. You shouldn't have to tell people if you are or not.
It's not my business.
As long as your team knows and the league knows, that's all that should matter. Like, I don't Kirk Cousins. I don't want to know if he is or not.
Right.
Like, but we know that he isn't. And
right.
I shouldn't have to know that. And when you guys come out and talk about why they're not, I don't care why you are or not. It's your choice, man.
That's the big thing to me. Is honestly,
if you were my doctor, I might give a shit, but you're a football player.
Right.
I give a shit about your arm strength and your
how
accuracy.
fast you can, and how fast
about
you can
the extent of it.
See, and that's the big thing to me is I feel like for some reason we've lost the choice in all this.
Yep.
Like, for me, I don't care. More power to you guys. You got vaccinated. I have thought about it. I'm not yet, but.
I have family who absolutely refuses to do it.
Right. So, I mean, but for me, it is what it is. Do you, boo-boo? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even give a shit. Like, you got it or you don't. I don't care either way. We're still going to get along and be friends. Right. I don't give a shit. I just have questions along the lines of a major league... a major sports league requiring that, or you're getting fired, or you're getting suspended, or you're getting fined.
And like I said, it's the question of legalities too, because this is headed right down a road that's good. Spoiler alert, but this road leads to segregation. That's what it leads to: vaccinated, unvaccinated.
Yeah.
If you're separating people like that, that's called segregation.
Well, and honestly, it's what we do as a society anyway. Unfortunately, is we divide and conquer in society.
Right.
I mean, that's the way it happens, and this is just another way it's happening, and it's transferring over into sports to where we have to discuss it a little bit, as opposed to if this didn't have anything to do with football right now, we wouldn't fucking talk about this at all.
Oh hell no, not a chance.
It's just one of those situations where everything kind of comes together in a massive ball, and everything has everything to do with each other, while having nothing to do with anything at the exact same time.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
honestly not I'm kind of with Frank on this one. Not a conversation I was looking forward to having.
Right.
But I knew I knew it needed to be talked about.
Yeah, it's too big of a story to not, and the potential of what it's going to become as a story is too great to not address it.
Frank, I'm with you. I think that's definitely headed toward down a very long and winding legal road.
Yeah.
And for me, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to having it because it's an awkward discussion to have anywhere. But we do have a text coming in. But what we did have to discuss, I was actually looking forward to possibly getting your guys' point of view because I like getting other point of views than mine. I mean, my point of view isn't right or wrong. It's just my point of view. I like on a situation like this that the NFL is doing.
Right.
I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. I wanted to see where you fell on it.
I actually feel this text brings up a good point though. The text says, I think if you choose not to get the vaccine or wear a mask, etc., but a business requires it if they're customers and employees. Now, you've made your choice not to do it, and that's great. But if said business makes their employees do it, like, why is that an issue? Like, if say, like, a Wendy's requires their employees to wear masks, why is it any different that the NFL, requires their players to?
I question the legality of it across the board.
And that's fair, but I guess I don't really see the difference between, like I said, like a Wendy's doing it versus the NFL doing it.
Like working at a major automotive company.
Right.
We've had this discussion for months now on whether or not they can mandate it or not. And it's one of those questions where people say they can, and some people say they can't.
I think
but the true answer is unless you legally know what is allowed to happen.
I think a public business. I think a public business where, say, it's a store or whatever, they can require you as a customer to wear a mask. Same as they can require you to wear shoes and a shirt.
No shoes, no shirt, no service.
Right. So I mean, when it comes down to it, if I don't want to wear a mask and I go into a business and they say you have to wear a mask, I either say okay, I'll put on a mask, which I do, or I decide not to shop at that store.
Right.
Like, it's plain and simple. These people that make it their life goal to then make the employees of that store miserable and yell at them, like it was their decision.
Those people are assholes.
Like as if you go to
Seriously.
like, for example, if you go to Best Buy and Best Buy requires you to wear a mask, like the person that's standing at the front door, like it was their fucking decision.
Right. It was their policy.
Like their last name is Buy and it's their store.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just stupid. That's insane. Any business can require anything they want to of customers. Like, same as like nightclubs have certain attires required before you can gain entry to the nightclub.
But they can also do it. They can also do it with their employees.
Exactly. Right. Absolutely.
It's private business. Yep. Private organization. Anything that is privately owned.
Same as like the company I work for can require us to wear masks again. Am I gonna hem and haw about it? I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily enjoy it, but I'll put a mask on again.
I was gonna say, I just found out my company's going back to mandating it.
I think all of our companies.
Yeah, I saw. I think McDonald's is going back to it. I think Kroger's. I saw that today.
When it comes down to it, though, I would have a problem if my company came to me and said, "You have to get this shot."
Because
wearing something and injecting something into your body, I feel like, are too drastic.
Right, and I want to say this from this point of view. I'm not one of those people that thinks if I'm shooting this shot in my body, like Bill Gates is going to follow me around.
I know, right?
and like it's going to alter my DNA. That's not me. That's not what I'm talking about.
I got it in the hopes somebody would call me. Nobody's fucking called me. Like I guess good news. I got the shot. Nobody still gives a shit about me.
Like, I'm sorry, nobody's injecting a tracking device in you, and yet do you have a phone?
Yeah,
you already have a tracking device.
If you carry your phone if you carry your cell phone with you, you're already carrying a tracking device. So that's just stupid.
But I'm pretty sure half these cars have trackers in them at this point.
Well, yeah, that's what the GPS is. So yes, they do.
When it comes down to it, it's just a matter of do you choose to get the flu shot? Do you choose to get the COVID shot? To me, it's kind of the same level of. You can choose either way. You can be on the fence about it and not have gotten it yet. That's the way life fucking works. We're all different. We all decide to do things one way or another, and we're all questioning certain things. That's the way it fucking works. That's the way human beings are.
I was gonna say, and to go 100% political for like a millisecond. That's
literally
what makes this fucking country as great as it is.
That's not political. That's just smart. That's just smart. But yeah, I mean, I can tell you my point of view from this. If my work required it from me, I would have a hard time deciding whether to stay there or not. Only for the simple fact of, if I get this shot, I could still get COVID and I could still miss time from work because I could still be out with COVID.
Right.
If the shot guaranteed I would not get COVID, I would not miss any time at work, I would not make anybody else sick, then guess what? I get the shot. but it doesn't guarantee any of that.
Yeah, if we're talking a true vaccine as opposed to a shot,
if
we're talking two different things.
If we're talking a true vaccine as opposed to just a shot that it will keep me from getting so sick, but if I get the shot, it doesn't affect you one bit. You've already gotten the shot. So for me, a business to require that is different than an actual vaccine.
Yeah.
Vaccines being required that nullify actual diseases, I wholeheartedly believe in. That. This one doesn't eradicate it. Just makes it so it doesn't affect you as much.
Yeah.
So
I think we're getting into a real interesting situation with all of this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think what ends up happening for football, I'm assuming football is going to be the forefront of this conversation because of what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the size of the league and
Yeah.
the notability of it.
Yep.
But somebody's going to have to be the guinea pig for it, and it seems like the NFL is going to end up being it.
Yep.
So,
but I'm glad you brought up interesting because I kind of want to get away from this topic because I think we've talked about it.
There's not much more we can say about it at this point. Just wait and see.
Interesting that we saw today that I sent you guys in our group text is John Tortorella being hired by ESPN as an analyst.
I'm fucking stoked for this.
I fucking love that. That is
Torts.
an excellent move
It is.
that ESPN just pulled off because that dude has, I think, just the right personality that if he wants to.
You've got Charles Barkley on 10.
Oh, it's gonna be.
But for hockey.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
If he actually lets his personality out, like he does in some of his pressers.
God, I hope he does.
And that's a big if.
It is a big
because Disney's a funny company. They may not allow him to be 100%.
And that's the
Torts.
thing, especially with obviously ESPN being one of the NHL's new partners and things
Right.
like that. No, let him be him. That people will tune in for
I
that.
agree.
You'll get more eyeballs on the television screen if you let him be him.
I agree.
But I'm kind of with you on this, Frank. I think Disney is going to be like, instead of being a 10, maybe be like a 6.
They're going to do to him what NBC did to Milbury.
Yeah.
Milbury was not 100%. He's a piece of shit.
He's
an asshole.
He's an
He's
idiot.
any name that you want to call him. I'm agreeing with that.
That guy was just an idiot, period.
But his personality,
Yep.
NBC didn't allow him to be himself.
No.
They made him tune it down.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Except, sadly, I think that dude was an idiot, so it was hard to take that dude serious.
Right. I mean, he beat the shit out of a fan with a shoe, so
yeah, that's fair.
but
yeah,
it's hard to argue if he's an idiot or not.
I think that guy's a fucking moron.
I don't think it's hard to argue.
But I love that move for ESPN. Honestly, I think
it's a great move.
What Turner and ESPN have done with the talent they're acquiring for they're calling their games and things like that, I think it's been awesome.
And in all honesty, the last week and a half for hockey has been some of the most exciting.
Yep.
2 weeks that I've seen in the NHL in years.
Yeah. It's
the
good to see.
movement of guys and I think ESPN's really got something here that if they do it right, they can put this back.
Just do it
on
right,
the map.
man. Just do it right. Do it better than NBC did it. Because NBC did not do the best job.
NBC seems to screw up a lot of sports.
They do.
They screwed up the NHL.
They got the NFL right.
Yes.
They got the NFL right.
Yes.
I'm sorry. To me, that's the best broadcast. Period. Over Fox, over CBS,
The Sunday night broadcast.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Even over the Monday
and the
night.
Thanksgiving night broadcast usually.
Right. Yeah, they definitely got the NFL right, but other than that,
they screwed up the Olympics. They screwed up
golf,
hockey.
The golf coverage is pretty good too. And I know you guys don't.
I don't think I've ever watched golf on NBC.
No,
I usually watch it on CBS.
Yeah, the golf coverage is pretty solid.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, it's not very good. Let's leave it at that. Not very good. Yeah. But I'm just happy that ESPN made that hire. I think it's a great hire, and I just hope they let him be him.
They're putting together.
What?
They're putting together
English, motherfucker.
We'll put together.
So together,
we're putting together an interesting panel over at ESPN when it comes to the hockey.
I dig it. Absolutely.
I'm anxious to actually see how this is going to end up.
I'm curious to see how Gretzky does.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got Gretzky on there. You've now got Torts on. You've got some drastically different personalities.
And Gretzky already said, he goes, I'm not going to be out there.
Right.
I'm not going to criticize anybody, anything like that. Oh, all right, man, you do you. Because he doesn't do that.
Right. And the world's really about to see what made Gretzky,
right.
with just the way his mind works.
Exactly.
And that's
to see him analyze hockey will be fun because you're right.
He couldn't fucking coach it.
No, he couldn't coach it worth a shit.
No, but to see his analyzation, it's almost like Tony Romo. Tony Romo couldn't win the big game, but as being in the booth, analyzing a game,
Romo's literally telling you the plays that are coming, the blitzes that are happening. He's telling you everything before it happens. And I really feel like Gretzky's going to be the exact same way.
Is it just me or with Romo doing that? Are you kind of over that? I'm kind of over that
to an extent.
I still enjoy Romo, just not as much as I used to. I do still enjoy him. It's him. Well, it's. So I enjoy him saying like the analyzation of like what players could possibly come up or whatever like that. But some of the interactions between him and
Jim Nance,
it's
awkward.
They are very, very awkward.
Yeah.
We even made fun of him last year, actually playing the guys from Dodgeball, because that's what it kind of seems like sometimes. You know, like Tony Romo just throws out something weird, and Nance it's like Nance is just staring at him, like. What?
Yeah, sometimes Romo seems like he's mentally put himself back on the field and is just saying things that only he knows what he's saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jim Nance is in his golf mode, calling the Masters.
Jim Nance is just looking at him like,
what?
I have no idea what you're talking about, man.
Like, I wish for one day we could put that shit on like HBO Max and just have
it'd
them
be
say
great.
what they actually want to say.
Like I saw Fox was going to do like a few games with Gus Johnson and Aqib Talib, which I think is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great.
Gus Johnson and Aqib Talib.
Oh my God, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be fantastic. Like those are two guys that'll actually have fun during the broadcast.
Right? I was going to say Fox is the company that took a chance on Pat McAfee doing a game. So.
Yeah, and I thought he was fantastic.
He was.
He was great.
I talking about doing games. I still think they're missing the boat on not doing the Nickelodeon thing for games.
They should absolutely do that
once a week. They should. It should be the Sunday night game or the Monday night. There should be one of those.
Just
they
pick
choose
a game.
one
Just
game.
Pick a game.
One game. Well, it should be a primetime game in my opinion.
And Nate Burleson
families
was the
are together at
perfect
that point
guy for
he
it
was.
too.
He was absolutely the perfect guy for
like
it.
Nate Burleson. Just, kind of a sidebar to direct sports and going off into other competition stuff. Nate Burleson hosted the Challenge. MTV does a show called The Challenge. And Nate Burleson hosted their reunion.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
And he hosted their reunion on Paramount Plus, I think it was.
Okay.
So long story short, he's done that. He's done interviews for E. He's done all these interviews.
Yeah.
He's surpassed just being a football player.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He's got a personality.
Right.
He's engaging, and he's one of those guys. You kind of he's got the personality for different kinds of events, not just football.
Not to Strahan situation yet. He's not going to be on Good Morning America.
But he's getting there.
Right.
Yeah,
he's on his way there. If Nickelodeon jumps on it now and puts him as the head of once a week, twice a week, whatever they choose to do, you're going to pull in more eyes because people know this guy outside of football now.
Well, and he's got that type of he's got the Michael Strahan type of personality though. He's an engaging person.
Right.
And he's got charisma. He can do many other things than just announce football, but one of the things that they should do.
When I heard his resume of what he's done, like I want to say it was Extra. He was the first person to pull a Taylor Swift interview for Extra in like 10 years.
No shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when you've got that kind of notoriety with people, people are going to talk to you.
Right. No, I absolutely we talked about that last season after that playoff game. Was like that they should do that.
You threw something together and made gold out of it,
and it worked.
And they're drastically missing the boat on doing it once a week. I think families would enjoy it. You would get younger viewers. You would start to gain a bigger audience, as if you need a bigger audience as the NFL. Right. But you would gain the younger audience you're trying to get, and families could then watch football together, as opposed to the dad going, listen, I'm going to try to watch the game. Just leave me alone. or separating families to watch games at night.
Right.
You would have a family event once a week at night to watch NFL football. And it'd be cool.
At a minimum, do the Super Bowl that way. You have a Super Bowl party. Everybody's in the living room. Okay, put all the kids in one room. Turn on Nickelodeon. They're watching the football game too.
Yep. That's. I think that's Joe. You're 100% right. I think they're absolutely missing the boat on this one, but. Maybe they'll come around to actually doing it, which they absolutely should do it. So
they should, but things that you should do and things that you actually do are you know when it comes to the NFL is not really
right. It kind of that to like things you should do and things you shouldn't do. I want to talk about this SEC college football nonsense.
Yeah,
like you talking about Texas, Oklahoma.
Oh my God, dude! At this point, just eliminate conferences. Honestly, just eliminate it. Like. It's kind of the point now. It's just flat out insanity.
Well, Chris, you remember we discussed this on the show. This was a while ago, but we discussed the fact that it was going to turn into like 4 super conferences.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was going to. That's what it was looking to turn out to.
Yep.
And that's kind of where it's going now. I agree with your point. Like at this point, get rid of them. But what it's going to turn into is you're going to be in one of 4 conferences. You got to make your offers to the colleges now. as a conference, make your offers now. Get them in there while they're hot because they're going to be gone pretty soon.
Yep.
And the Big Ten is sitting back not doing shit.
Yep.
They're not making offers to anybody.
When they could have had OU in Texas.
Absolutely.
They absolutely could have had them.
Yeah.
And they missed the boat on that one.
They could have had Notre Dame 2 years ago.
I disagree on that one.
Fuck Notre Dame.
Notre Dame never wanted to be a part of the Big Ten.
No, they didn't.
Ever.
But for the COVID situation, if you extend that invite, if everybody goes conference at this point, Notre Dame's in the ACC or wherever the ACC merges into.
Yeah, absolutely
you
right.
could have gotten that name at least to pull in the Big Ten.
Because now I was reading like that the Big Ten's going to go after Kansas. I'm like, really?
Cool. Kansas?
So now we've got Rutgers, Maryland, and Kansas.
Their basketball program, I get it, but like their football program is arguably the worst college football program in college football.
I was going to say the only level I agree with that on is okay, you get a powerhouse in basketball then. But if you're talking the big powerhouse, which is football, football is the powerhouse.
That's like
then no, Kansas makes no sense. Now if you're going to go out and get Kansas, and then you're going to go out and get some other teams that make or some other schools that make sense for college football. That's one thing, okay? But when you're just talking about, Kansas is your big draw, like, man, that's great for basketball. What does it do for the big draw, the real big draw, which is football? It does nothing.
The Big Ten's got to make a huge splash here somewhere. I don't know where they're going to do it. I don't know who they're going to go after.
Well, I mean, it's like when you see the blue light special, when you go for a special on like Black Friday, and you got to get there early to get the good shit. If you get there late, you're getting the scraps.
You're fucked.
Yeah, and you don't like what you take home at that Black Friday sale when you get there late. So you're late to the table already. You need to get there and get what you want.
Would you go out there, Cincinnati?
I would.
I think they got a strong enough basketball and football program that it could work.
They're strong enough in both that would work, but they would need more than that.
Oh, absolutely.
They would definitely need more than that, and I think they need to go after some big names. I mean, honestly, go after USC.
I mean, obviously geography means nothing at this point.
It means nothing at this point. So in that case, go after them. Go after USC. USC will get you the California market. They're decent in basketball. They're good in football.
Go after both of them. Go after USC and UCLA.
I was just going to say UCLA does
go after
the
both
same thing.
Yeah. Fuck it. Go after both of them. Or go after Washington. Go after Oregon. You want the big fish? Go after Oregon.
I mean, if you want a team that's going to be decent in both basketball and football, go after Oklahoma State.
I'm cool with that. Absolutely.
Oklahoma State, they just did great in the basketball tournament, and their football program isn't shit.
Go after Baylor.
They're decent. Baylor be another one.
Go after Baylor. I mean, they just won a national championship.
If you're looking at double dipping, now's your time to go after these double dip teams that are decent in both sports.
Yep. But of course, the Big Ten, in all their infinite wisdom, they're never proactive. They're always reactive.
Yep.
And they're going to be. I think they're going to be the last ones.
I even want to argue that I wouldn't even call them reactive. This is the one division that does nothing.
They're just not active.
Yeah. And that's why we talked about before the show.
The literal flat line,
right? But like we talked about before the show, at this point, if you're Ohio State or you're Michigan or you're Penn State or Michigan State, at this point, just leave. Just fuck this.
Yeah.
Bye. And until these super conferences are formed, which is I think will happen in the next 5 years. Hell, I honestly within the next 3 years I could see it happening.
I was going to say, ultimately, I think it's going to depend on what happens with Texas and Oklahoma.
Right. I mean, that's
if they green light that,
which
it's all going to start happening instantly.
It's pretty much it's pretty much done as it is. Besides the legalities, which I think the SEC will just be like, "Fuck off, this is happening." College
football is not going to tell the SEC no.
I don't think college football can tell anybody anything anymore.
That's true.
But I think like schools like that, like Michigan, Ohio State, those schools, seriously, just give the Big Ten the middle finger. Be like, we're done. Fuck you. We're out. And just go independent for a little while, like Notre Dame. And then once these super conferences get formed, okay, somebody's going to want you.
And based on the whole flatline theory with the Big Ten, I'm perfectly fine with the Big Ten just going away. They've done nothing.
Nothing.
Like, I would love to see a team like Michigan merge yourself into the SEC, merge yourself into the Pac-12.
Or the ACC, whatever. Do it.
Wherever you choose to go, merge yourself in with that. I want to see your game adapt. I want to see you guys developed as a program. I'm tired of seeing the Big Ten go into bowl games and getting the shit kicked out of them because the style of football you play has been the same since 1907.
It's so fucking antiquated. It's incredibly antiquated. And being as those schools, the schools I mentioned, they are of the high-profile brands, any one of these conferences would be like, yeah, okay, come on down.
Right.
Because it's more money for us.
And any fucking conference out there is salivating at the opportunity to get a school like Michigan.
Is Oregon available?
I would go after Oregon in a heartbeat.
Yeah, go after Oregon.
1,000%.
If the Pac-12 is going to make it, then no. If the Pac-12 is going to disassemble, then yeah.
I brought up Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I said after I said UCLA and USC.
Okay.
Go after Washington. Go after Oregon. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring that. Not only do you bring that West Coast market in, but you bring that Nike money in.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Is you bring the Nike money in.
Oh man, absolutely. You go after those guys. Fuck it again, because geography does not matter at this point. Legitimately does not matter. Like you got 2 Texas schools in the SEC. Like what? Okay.
Yeah. Well, so that's why I'm saying go after some bigger markets and go after some bigger teams. Like you said, Washington it would be a great one to go after.
Yeah.
Oregon, USC, UCLA. Oklahoma State, get your markets out there.
Say Arizona State,
right? Like Louisville's in the ACC. What sense does that fucking make?
It doesn't. It
doesn't.
But
the Pacific than it is the Atlantic.
Right. So
it's in the Atlantic Conference.
So it doesn't matter at this point. So go after and the Big Ten network is actually the biggest network out of any of the college sports networks. So in that case, broaden that range.
Yep.
Like the schools already got what they get like $55 million,
something insane,
crazy
like $55 million just off the Big Ten network.
Yep.
So you bring in schools like Oregon and USC and UCLA, and you bring in Oklahoma State, teams like that or schools like that. You bring them in. That just boosts your viewership.
Yep.
That boosts the revenue you're going to be able to bring in from the Big Ten network, and you actually have an enticing thing to put out there for these schools too. Hey, we were able to give the schools $55 million. That was like $10 million more than any other network was able to give the schools in their conference.
And these people still pining for like conference loyalties or stuff like. I'm sorry guys, it's over. It's fucking over.
Yeah, yeah, it's over.
It's over. Tradition is dead. It's flat. It's just dead. It's all about money, and if you don't realize that by now, there's no helping you. It's all about how it's going to help these conferences make more money, and that's just what it boils down to. It's sad, and I hate to see it.
It's the world of business,
but it's what it is. So if like with the Big Ten, especially, either adapt or die, and what the Big Ten will do, they'll die because that's what the Big Ten does.
That's what they're on the verge of doing.
Exactly, and that's why. I mean, you look at the SEC, and you wonder why they've been so successful. It's because they're proactive. They go out and do stuff like this, and you wonder why the Big Ten is stagnant, for lack of a better term, because they don't do anything like this. But we went out and got Maryland and Rutgers. Yeah, how's that fucking working out for you?
I was gonna say you literally went out and got 2 bottom feeders.
Right, like how was that working out for you?
You got Nebraska, cool. Nebraska was relevant for what? A cup of coffee, essentially.
And honestly, Nebraska, you didn't even go out and get Nebraska. Nebraska begged you to join. So
yeah,
like,
and you were finally like, well, okay.
Yeah. So all it's right. Like okay. So it's what it is. I say within the next 3-4 years, it's going to happen. The super conferences. Which okay.
I wouldn't even. I'm not even sure it's going to take that long.
You don't think so?
To me, it's trending in that direction very strongly right now.
Right.
I think within 2 years you're going to have it's going to be all super conference.
I can't necessarily disagree with that. So it's sad, but it's things change, things adapt, and things just kind of do their own thing. It's what it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the way it works. Before we get out of here, I want to bring up the podcast tournament. The intro tournament.
Oh yeah.
So the intro tournament, we are now in the finals.
Yes, we are. Yes,
so
we are.
We appreciate everybody that
thank
voted
you.
for us.
Thank you
Thank you
much.
for your support.
Appreciate it. It's a really cool thing. It's a really cool thing that we're actually in the finals. So please, all of you that have voted for us, continue to vote for us. Tell your friends. Tell whomever you need to tell to vote for us, because I just think it's a really cool thing.
It is. So. It's awesome to have made it this far, because it takes voting on from the public on what you've done and what we put together, and you're basically saying that you appreciate and like what we put together. So that's pretty awesome for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and it also gets our name out there more to more people, and we appreciate that as well.
Do we know when the voting starts up again for the finals?
Yes, it'll be tomorrow night.
Okay.
The voting is from tomorrow night till Friday night, I believe, and we will be putting an update out on our Facebook page, and we'll be sharing that out. So keep an eye out for that. follow it, and vote. Please, please, please vote again.
Yeah,
we definitely appreciate it. We at this point we've made this far. We didn't really think we would, but we made this far. We want to win it.
Yeah, we want to win.
I was just saying, votes are not limited, so go ahead and stuff the ballot box.
Absolutely. Yes, you can vote as many times as you would like to, and we appreciate every single time you vote. So,
yes,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, do we have anything else we want to get into? I just wanted to make sure we brought that
up.
No,
I'm glad you did. I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. Other than that, no. You want to hit the what's next? Cameo show?
I don't have one this week. I was so busy. What? I was so busy working on all the other things.
I felt like he was so determined to get the call-in thing to work.
That's fair.
Yeah, so
Cameo took a back seat this week.
Well, not to mention I had to redo some of the advertising on the website. I've redone some of the visuals and everything like that. So spent a lot of time on that. I didn't get a Cameo.
That's fair.
Well, we gotta get all this stuff in before football really kicks off.
Yeah.
So it's understandable.
Do you want to tell them the news that we're talking about doing on Sundays?
Yes. So
is that officially a go?
It's officially a go. We're gonna do that. So this coming football season on Sundays, we've yet to determine an exact time yet, but on Sundays we're gonna do a live show for fantasy football and betting. It's gonna be every Sunday morning. Tune in to Sports on Tap, either on
whenever I decide to wake up. That's when it's going to
start. I'll be knocking on your door.
Right.
So tune in to our YouTube page, our Twitch, our website sotdet.com, our Facebook page, our Twitter page. It'll be live to every one of those on Sunday mornings, and it's gonna be a really fun show. We're gonna cover fantasy football. We're gonna cover betting, prop bets. All kinds of things on that show. It's gonna be really fun. So, I know Frank plans on being on some of them.
Yeah, I occasionally have to work the Sunday. Yeah. So every once in a while I'll be on. Every once in a while I'll be at work.
Yep, and Chris and I will be here. I think pretty much every Sunday. Him and I, and then we'll also Frank. You'll be in. A buddy of mine, Dan's gonna be on. He follows betting and he's very religious with that.
Knows his
fantasy
shit.
Football. And then we're working on a couple other special guests for the weeks where we don't have Frank. So. It's going to be fun. We're really looking forward to it, and we're pretty pumped about football season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be good stuff, guys. So hope you guys can tune into that too on Sunday mornings. We'll get you a time here within the next couple of weeks.
Yep, and keep in mind that will be just a live show every Sunday. We will not turn that into a podcast. That will be just a live show every Sunday because there's really no point in turning the live show about Sunday football into a podcast because by the time we put it as a podcast, it's already irrelevant.
Right.
So it's just going to be a live show we're going to do for everybody who wants to watch live, and we're hoping to make it a fun way to start your Sundays.
Yep. Absolutely. I was going to say, and we're streaming back on our own page again, right?
We are.
Okay.
We are streaming to our Facebook page, Sports on Tap, and we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on
so if
Twitter.
You're following on the Sports on Tap page and you're seeing us on here right now, go ahead, hit that little share button at the bottom. Help us get this page out there a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd appreciate it.
And we definitely appreciate everybody's support. So thank you very much. You have made us very happy in doing what we enjoy doing. So
yeah, especially in only a year.
Yeah.
Right. Shit.
Not even yet. It'll be a year.
September.
September. Well, the week before football starts, it'll be a year.
Yep.
So it's been fun. We enjoy it. We're going to keep doing it, and we hope you guys appreciate it, and we think you do.
Absolutely.
So, with that, give us a like, a share, and a follow on our social media, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, which we just discussed.
Yes.
You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. You can also find them on our website, sotdet.com. Again, that's sotdet.com. Thank you to everyone for listening and or watching. On behalf of Chris and Frank, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No. Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye.
Toodaloo, motherfucker.
Hey,
we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
You were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.